it possible for a racing game to simultaneously be a fun and immersive experience and infuriatingly flawed? F123 proves this is possible. This is my review of the latest version of the official Formula 1 game. I'm going to talk high level about many of the facets of F123 and what might make it worth it for you to buy. At its core, F123 delivers wheel-to-wheel racing action and allows you to role-play as any of the 20 drivers currently on the F1 grid. All of the cars, teams, banners, tracks, music, and most everything else that fills our senses on Sundays from March to November is represented here, and that experience can't really be beat by any other racing title. What holds F123 back and makes it an experience that would have me tearing my hair out if it were long enough to grab onto is the lack of progress from year to year. Have there been improvements? Sure. Do these improvements make a difference in the overall experience? Absolutely. But let's not pretend that F123 is the complete title most of us had hoped it would be. Visually, F123 looks good. At times it can look great, and at other times, not so great. VR is supported like last year, but there's no proper triple screen support. Trackside details and visual representation of the banners, cars, crowds, teams, and so forth are all excellent and really add to the appeal of the title. It's unlikely that veterans of the series will be floored by anything that's changed in F123 versus prior installments, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've always enjoyed the visuals in the F1 series, and 23 does nothing to ruin that enjoyment. It's not Forza Horizon 5, but it's also not Automobilista 1. Overall, very good visuals. Like the visuals, the sounds in F123 are unlikely to blow anyone's mind, but nicely supplement the immersion. Engine notes are lower in the mix than many racing titles, and leave plenty of space for the bumps, curbs, radio calls, and so forth. And those little details certainly add to the immersion. Overall, the sounds are more than adequate, and fulfill the task of pulling you further into the world of F1. F123 is not going to fill your headphones with a booming timbre of engine and transmission noise, but you might just convince your friend in the next room that you're watching a broadcast rather than playing a game. So to talk about the driving experience, I would have to say that it is very good. It is a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of racing sim purists who think this doesn't meet the level that Assetto Corsa delivers for an F1 experience, and I would broadly agree. But I would also say that fans of the F1 series can expect to see improvements, and those improvements are on display on your screen now. I think it's a lot of fun to drive with. It's not frustrating. There's no major bugs that I have found. It's great for exactly what Codemasters set out to do with the title, which is wheel-to-wheel racing as your favorite F1 drivers. If you came here looking for me to throw shade at F123, you've reached the right section. The kindest word I could use to describe the menus and user interface in F123 is consistent. As in consistently frustrating. As in consistently frustrating year after year. As in consistently frustrating year after year, indifferent to player feedback. To contextualize my experience with the UI, I'll tell you that this review almost didn't happen. Several attempted first launches failed. All I got was a black screen. This persisted for hours until I had the thought to try VR. Thankfully, my old CV1 came through and I could now magically run F123 with or without VR after getting the first start done. Then I tried setting up my wheel, and the game just refused to cooperate because I dared to have more than two peripherals. I unplugged my Moza gear, migrated to Fanatec, and I was in business. Oh, and all this troubleshooting was done without the ability to use my mouse on PC. So roughly 4 hours were invested in the title just trying to get to the point where I could actually race. The reason I knew that a VR headset might help it boot the first time, or that having too many peripherals plugged in would make my F1 experience collapse inward on itself, was because I went through similar issues 12 months ago with F122. There are basic functions like mouse support and multiple input support that function just fine in every other racing title I own dating back a decade or more, but are lost causes in the F1 series, and that's to say nothing of proper FOV and triple screen support on PC. But in fairness, the menus are reasonably logical once you're up and running, which is great when you're navigating with your F keys. I mean, come on guys, seriously. Alright, let's move on. So putting my positivity beanie back on, I can tell you that few racing games can touch the career mode in F123. The Breaking Point story mode is back, and you're once again pulled into the life of an aspiring F1 driver. F1 Life is the building of a nuanced avatar to add yourself to the world of Formula 1. It doesn't do much for me personally, but for those looking to do more in a racing title than just race and hot lap, it opens up options. The AI is pretty good in F1 23. The computer-controlled cars have decent pace throughout a lap and keep consistent, and they do a good job overall providing a semi-realistic racing experience. So the single-player experience in F1 23 has enough, and probably more than enough, depth and nuance to keep solo players happy. It was too early in pre-release for me to really do a firm review of the multiplayer experience, but there aren't any highly touted changes that I'm aware of, so F1 22 players can likely expect more of the same when it comes to online. It's a competent online racing system with some bugs and some workarounds, but also cool features like leaderboard challenges and setup sharing. Based on what has improved versus 22, EA has probably done enough to warrant enormous sales figures and some well-deserved internet popularity for F1 23. The question I have is, have they only done just enough? Recent editions of the F1 game have followed a similar arc within the racing game sector. A new version comes out that catches our attention, a few days and weeks go by and we're loving the game, and then bugs and exploits come to the fore, and then the community mood shifts to an air of expectation of next year's improvements, and shortly thereafter we're getting teasers from EA for that subsequent edition, and I have no reason to think that F1 23 will be different. The game is a lot of fun, and as mentioned, I don't think there's any more authentic way to experience F1 at home. If F1 is your thing, then F1 23 is probably your thing too. But don't kid yourself thinking that this is some massive upgrade from F1 22 that finally resolves all of the lingering issues that have plagued the series for years, because it's not. So many frustrating things have persisted from the outgoing version that hamper the otherwise fun in-game experience. So let's conclude with my recommendation of who should buy this game. My recommendation broadly is that if you need the newest and greatest names and places from the world of F1 like De Vries, Piastri, Sargent, or places like Vegas and Qatar, then this is for you. Or if you're okay with small but noticeable improvements to a game that you already love, get F1 23. And perhaps most importantly, if you've never before owned an F1 game, or it's been a few years since you've tried one, you will probably love this. But if you're among the many people who have forked over their hard-earned money year on year hoping to see improvements that the community has been asking for now implemented, I'm sorry to say that this is something you can probably skip. F1 23 is a fun, flawed, immersive, annoying, thrilling, head-scratching racing game that's going to make you swim across a raging river to reach paradise. It's getting harder and harder to justify the purchase annually, but there's little doubt in my mind that the core racing action is concurrently getting harder and harder to deny. Thanks for watching, and be sure to let me know your thoughts on F1 23 or anything else F1 related in the comments.